नमस्कार, आपके साथ मैं अदिति त्यागी, मेरे साथ कर्नल मिरी हैं और आप जानते हैं इस समय इज़राइल और ईरान के बीच जो कुछ चल रहा है, पूरी दुनिया की निगाहें वहीं पर टिकी हुई हैं। So, first of all, welcome to the show, Colonel Miri. Thank you so much. You have been very kind to me. Welcome and thank you so much. And as they
Thank
say,
you so
shalom.
much for inviting me.
And how do they greet in Israel? Shalom?
Shalom. I'll do namaste and I'll say shalom.
Shalom. First of all, I would want you to tell us and the viewers what's happening over there.
So thank you for inviting me. It isn't, to me, it's very important to be able to talk to people, to audiences overseas, sitting here right now next to Tel Aviv. I'm going to start a little bit from the personal, what happens to us here, and then I'll zoom out into the attacks themselves and you'll guide me where you want us to go. Israel initiated an aerial attack against the Iranian nuclear sites, Iranian Revolutionary Guard sites, a variety of sites, very, very early Friday. I think that in India it was probably Friday already at 5 or 6 a.m. because in Israel it was at around 3 a.m. And here we are now already on Sunday. And what we were woken up by on late Thursday, early Friday morning was in Israel there's an app, and it's not even an app. You don't have to have the app. They sent into our phones a signal, and that was every single phone in Israel. It's something that they put in. It woke us up, and it said, and in every different phone in its own language. So mine actually, it said it in English because my phone is defined in English, my husband in Hebrew, and it said, go find a safe place. There is an imminent attack. And that was at around 3 a.m., where it told us, and then the prime minister spoke, that Israel had initiated a preemptive attack against the Iranian nuclear capabilities, projectiles, the leadership that was doing all of those different aspects. And ever since, for the last 48 hours and even a bit more, we've been in an emergency lockdown. That means that it's not that I'm not supposed to leave my house, because right now I'm in my house. I'm supposed to be near a safe room. What's a safe room? I'm supposed to be able to go inside, close a special door. It's made out of special concrete. It's similar to what you would call a bomb shelter, but it's not necessarily underground. By law in Israel, all buildings built from 1995 and onward have to have it. But before 1995, you didn't have to have it. And I hate to tell you, but in the last 48 hours, I've seen how effective it is. We've had until now, from the missile attacks, we're already up to almost 15 Israelis killed in the Iranian missile attacks. And Aditi, all of the ones that were killed were not inside a safe room. And not because they weren't taking precautions. But if your building doesn't have it, if your apartment doesn't have it, if your house doesn't have it, you need to have time to go find one. I now have, as I have a smile. It's not happy. I migrated. I'm in my house right now, but I don't have a safe room in my house. And in the nighttime, which is the main time that the Iranians are attacking, I'm going to sleep in a place that has a safe room. You need to be next to it. It is very dangerous to not be in one. So that's where we are right now, because we're in a lockdown. It's so quiet outside. It's summer days. It's already June. It's not cold here, not hot like in India, but not cold here. But it's so quiet. You can hear the birds, because it's like nobody's at work. Nobody's at school. None of the stores are open. None of the shopping malls are open. The only things that are allowed to be open are what are called emergency services, which means supermarkets and pharmacies. Not even health clinics are open. Everything is in emergency mode. So that's what's going on here, that combination of the attack and what we're doing as citizens, as residents here.
Colonel Miri, I must say that you are very brave, that you could still smile because it's so stressful out there, and still to be able to smile takes a lot of courage. So kudos for that. And for more clarity, how many households would be there who would not have these safe rooms? And where do you need to go if you don't have the safe room at your place?
So the safe rooms themselves, I mean, anything built before 1995 doesn't have that. And so what some of them would have, I mean, are bomb shelters. And what we did up until now in the last 20 months of the war, and I remember this also because I'll remind our viewers that the Islamic regime of Iran has already attacked us twice. They attacked in April of 2024 and they attacked in October of 2024. But it wasn't the same kind of attack we're seeing now. And in the buildings themselves, every single person, and again, you look at it, we all have phones nowadays, the TV, the radio. There's always going to be some kind of a shelter within 200 meters, even 500 meters. And because Iran is very far away from Israel, it's over 1,000 kilometers away. I don't remember, do you do miles or kilometers?
We do both. So
Okay,
kilometers, miles, both are fine.
Okay, so it's over 1,000 kilometers away, and it's when I go east from Israel, you're going to get to Jordan and Syria, and then you get to Iraq, and you have to cross all of Iraq before you get to Iran. So the time that we have for the early warning is much longer than what we had when Hamas was firing against us and Hezbollah was firing against us. It's more similar to when we have the Houthis in Yemen firing against us. And what that means is that now they give us an early warning that says Iran is readying what they're about to do. That's between 15 to 30 minutes. That's a very long warning. And in that time, I can get into my car, drive up a 2-3 minute drive to, in this case, my mother-in-law, go into her apartment, and she has a safe room. And what I think has happened in the last 48 hours is that everybody I know is doing what I did. Meaning the first night I stayed at home. What do you do when you don't have a safe room? You go to the place that the Israeli Home Front have said is the safest. The safest place in the houses is where they build the strongest, which is usually the stairwell. That's where they always put in more concrete because it's going up to the second. So people will go under the stairwell. That's where I go in my house. I was there Friday night. It was creepy, scary, horrific. I have no words for it because you hear the missiles and you hear the interceptions and you hear the interceptors and everything shakes. It's very scary. And most of the people, all of the people that were killed were not in safe rooms because mainly when the missiles themselves, those are the ones that were not intercepted, that 5% that get through, when they hit, there's enormous impact. And there's like a wave. And what people have been killed at is when the building falls down and it falls on you. And the only portion that's been left in all of these buildings is the safe room. And people have gone to safe shelters, meaning it doesn't have to be in your house. And it can be 5-10 minute walk away. And that's what people are doing. Yesterday it hit really early this morning, a building. And they're still not sure if they found all of the casualties, and that includes 2 kids. And I'm sure that they would have gone into the stairwell, but it wasn't enough because of the strength, the impact of these Iranian missiles.
Tough times indeed. If you just mentioned that Israel hasn't attacked like this before, what did you mean by that?
So I'll say that we have, but have not. The Islamic regime of Iran attacked Israel in April of 2024 and in October of 2024. Yes. They did it at the time with what I'm going to call one wave, where they fired missiles and drones. Those are 2 different types of platforms. The drones take a very long time to get to Israel. I'm talking 7-8 hours. So imagine that you're sitting in your house. It's 10 o'clock in the evening, and the announcer says, okay, the drones are on the way. They're going to get here in another 7-8 hours. Do you go to sleep? Don't you go to sleep? I'm putting that one aside. But the drones have a very small impact in their payload. They're suicide drones. The idea is that they go in swarms, and that's one kind of attack that they did at the time, both in April and in October. The missiles that they fired at the time, they fired under 100. And those were intercepted both in October and in April of last year. Some were intercepted along the way. Some were intercepted here. And in the targeting itself, because Iran always tells stories afterwards, the ones that hit here were usually the ones that weren't intercepted, meaning you allowed it in because it was going to fall in an open area, and you don't waste the interceptor is very expensive, and you want to have them to make sure that you stop something like the building that got hit this morning, where it hit a 12-story residential building and killed people inside the building. So they did that then. They did it once, and it was very scary then. I want to be very clear. From Friday, what they did Friday night, now what they did Saturday night, is they've launched waves both of missiles and of drones, and they've launched 50 and another 50 and another 50. They've launched them at 11 p.m. I mean, again, this is Israel time, but it's in the night, 11 p.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m. They did it 50 and then another 50. So here's statistics comes in. As I said, our interceptors are effective 90 to 95% of the time. Aditi, that's amazing. But in statistics, that means that 5 to 10% gets through, even when you want to intercept. And last night or this morning, I think, add into it that the Houthi Yemenites also fired missiles against Israel. Mm-hmm. So what we're seeing here is more. I'm not smiling and happy, but part of the reason that this attack happened now, Israel's preemptive attack, part of the reason that I can smile and I feel very brave and resilient is because Israel last year in 2024, pretty much from July, but during August, September, October, and November, we attacked Hezbollah's capabilities in Lebanon. We attacked Hezbollah's capabilities, and after the fall of Bashar Assad's regime in Syria, we attacked the remnants of Bashar Assad's capabilities, but Iran, the Islamic regime, had an enormous deployment in Syria, so that the Islamic regime of Iran were relying on Hezbollah firing missiles, drones, and swarms against us with very little time. Okay, as I said, when they're launched from Iran, it takes even the ballistic missiles 7-8 minutes. That gives me time to get to a shelter, time to be safe, time to save lives. And when it's launched from Lebanon, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, no time at all. When it's launched from Syria, the same, that's so nearby. But both of those enormous bases that Iran cultivated for so many years in supplying and training Hezbollah, those, nothing. So yes, it's hard and it's scary and people have lost lives. However, we're doing very well. And again, I think that after today, even more so, anybody who is not right next to what we call a real safe room is going to go move. We're a very familial country, Aditi, okay? You go to, I said, I'm at my mother-in-law's. I would go to my sister, I mean, we are family here. You go into the bomb shelter and you meet total strangers. We know how to do that, and we'll be better and better at that, so that even though they keep on attacking, we'll intercept the bulk of them. And if it does hit, most of us will be in the safe places, safe from those attacks.
The point that you made about rockets the missiles being fired from the close proximity, as opposed to Iran, where the missile takes some 7 to 8 minutes.
Yeah, they're not
as opposed
being,
to
well, right.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
not being fired from the close proximity.
because Israel has been able to decimate the capabilities that these terror outfits had. So now when I'm listening to you, and I'm glad that I'm talking to an Israeli colonel who knows things in and out, inside out, what I need to know from you is, do you think Israel has achieved the objective that it has set out to? Say, for example, from October 7th, or with these preemptive strikes that we saw a few days back?
It's a wonderful question, and I'm going to answer in the following way. We are achieving them. We're still in it. October 7th, a day that's going to go down the worst in history for us after the Holocaust, the Shoah. But if I go and I say after that, I never would have thought in 2025 that Hezbollah, that was what we were training against, that we were scared of, that was the big, horrific monster to the north of our border, that we would attack against the nuclear facilities and the different platforms in Iran, and nothing from Hezbollah, Aditi. So here, that's a clear-cut achievement of Israel, that all of the different Iranian bases, capabilities. They had drone bases, missile bases under Bashar al-Assad in Syria until December 2024. Iran established in Syria places to put together, assemble the kind of missiles that are being fired against us right now from Iran. And again, the proximity makes a difference. You border Pakistan. You know the difference between bordering a country and between, not that I'm saying to belittle it, but there's a difference. If Iran threatens India right now, it doesn't border India. If Afghanistan threatens India right now, it doesn't border India. Pakistan does. And right now, the fact that Hezbollah does not have the capabilities and is doing nothing, that's part of our achievements. The fact that inside Lebanon, the president of Lebanon, the prime minister of Lebanon are stating clearly, Iran, we won't allow you to replenish, to rearm Hezbollah to what they were before we destroyed it. The fact that the new Syrian regime, challenging as it may be for me, is very clearly against the Islamic regime of Iran, against Hezbollah, and not only are they not participating against us right now, they're almost part of the protection. These are clear-cut achievements. All of those I put aside because Iran is a country of 86 million people. I know that when I talk to India, 86 million is not impressive. That's me being sarcastic in a happy way because I love India. You're 1,400,000,000. But in the, if you go India and then China, and then you drop to the United States, it's like Iran is up there on the most, 15 most populated countries in the world. 86 million is a lot of people. And it has it's a country, it's a state. This is the regime. This regime is the one that state-sponsored the terrorism. This regime is the one that makes the weapons in it, develops the weapons, and it's very proud of the fact that it develops intercontinental ballistic missiles that not only can reach Israel, they can reach India, that not only can reach India, they can reach anywhere in Western Europe. And onto that, they've been very systematically trying to achieve illegal nuclear weapons and trying to play with the world through negotiations. We're not, we're allowed, it's our, and I say that we haven't yet achieved that achievement, meaning I'm sitting here, it's day 3 of this. Even the amazing 6-day war in 1967 was 6 days. I don't think that this is only going to be 6 days. I think it will be longer. I think that we're prepared, but it isn't over. So we know we haven't yet achieved, but we're definitely on the path there.
Mm-hmm. So what is the ultimate goal of Israel when it says war on terror, and it resonates with India's war on terror? What exactly is the goal of Israeli government and Israeli armed forces? They are not looking to finish Iran, for sure. They are just looking from outside and to an extent in a superficial manner. Colonel Miri, a person like me, would assume that the goal of Israeli Defense Forces and the government would be to dethrone Al-Khamenei and bring in people's government. This is what history tells us. But you please tell me, what exactly is the goal of Israel?
There's no question that Israel would like to see a different regime in Iran. But Aditi, the question is, do we do it? Meaning, are we the ones who kill him? Are we the ones who create? Because if he's killed, by the way, I want to be clear, they'll appoint somebody else instead of him. This is about a very strong regime that's been ruling there for 45 years, that has a very strong domestic, what they're going to call domestic intelligence capability, where they're going to arrest their own citizens, They're going to kill their own citizens to keep their regime. So killing Khamenei, symbol as he is, doesn't make regime change. You still have, I'm even going to say almost 2 generations. I mean, we're heading into, if it's already 45 years of young people and of older people, that at least half of the Islamic regime of Iran, of the Iranians, support this regime. So it isn't about just killing the principle and about the fact, because what have we been attacking? Not so much the symbols of the regime, but rather all of the portions of this regime that do the state-sponsored terrorism. We have attacked physically, both in Tehran and all around Iran, Iranian Revolutionary Guard in every way you can think of. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard is like a parallel military. There's the Iranian army, they don't matter. And there's the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, which is an entire military force that has an air force, that's the drones, that has space force, that's the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Those are all held by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. And that's what we're attacking. Now, you can hope that the people in Iran see what we're doing better than we know. The Islamic regime chose to turn off their internet to make sure that they wouldn't be able to get any information. That's, the way that they're protecting themselves as this dictatorship, as this Islamic regime. But I think that right now, when you asked about that ultimate goal, I absolutely would love to see for the people of Iran a different regime. But I'm very wary of us being the ones who can do it. We're not going there. We're not overthrowing the regime. The mullahs will choose somebody else instead of Khamenei. I need the people there to say, we do not want this regime. And for them to be able to do so in our attacking what are the main, I'm going to call them domestic forces that support that regime, because we're attacking the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, perhaps that will help them, that will enable them. But this isn't about Israelis on the ground now saying, okay, go outside, do a revolution, now's the time. I'll even add in that chaos is very scary. We had chaos in Syria for many years. We've had chaos in Lebanon for many years. And I just say in that sense, and we border those two countries. And in Lebanon, we tried to do regime change in 1982, and we absolutely failed. So history also tells us to be very, very clear on what we're doing. We're taking out the threats that are the direct threats that we're going to try to attack us, that we're sponsoring the terrorism, that we're helping all of the proxies against us. And that's all of these different symbols and capabilities. But to actually bring about the regime change, I think that's a pretty big leap. I personally don't think that we should be doing so, but that's my personal opinion. There may be others in Israel who think otherwise.
Do you think Muslim world stands by Israel? Or are they fighting alone right now? I'm asking you this question as a defense expert.
It's a wonderful question. I'll split it into two. Who is the Muslim world? And what does that mean? Okay? Because it's not about Sunni and Shia. Because the Shia country of Bahrain signed a peace treaty with Israel. They're part of the Abraham Accords, and they're Shia. The Azerbaijan country, which is a Muslim country and it's mainly a Shiite country, have strong, strong diplomatic ties with Israel. And there are Sunni countries that are strongly not supportive of Israel, but supportive of our action against the Islamic regime because of what they've done. They are destabilizers and exporting their version of an Islamic revolution, not just to Shiites. They want it to be everywhere. And in that sense, there are countries, Muslim countries, who vehemently are against the existence of Israel, the idea of a Zionist entity, horrible rhetoric against us. I'll mention Algeria. Libya is a failed country right now that doesn't matter as much to me. Even Malaysia towards the eastern side, and Pakistan for that matter, okay? I'm not even talking about Afghanistan, but Pakistan to me is more important in that sense. So when I say supportive, I think that Jordan is supportive of the actions against Iran. It flies over them, but it's scary for them because what happens if Israel does not succeed? And I think that everybody is worried about that. I am sure that we will succeed up to a point. But if there is no regime change, that's why it's so core, why everybody's talking about it, then what have we done? Okay? So from my point of view, we have pushed away the possibility of their having both a nuclear weapon and a platform for it for the next 5 years or 10 years. That's good for me. In the meantime, let's get together and go onward. And I want to hope that we've been even more effective. Every country, I think also that we should take with a grain of salt, as I put it, the rhetoric, both of Iran and of all of these different countries, because Saudi Arabia said, we're against this. Israel, you did bad. And that's what Saudi
Hmm.
Arabia said. It's like, that's what Oman said. A lot of them have said that, but that's what they're going to say outside to their publics. Again, we've been now in a 20-month war that Hamas started, imposed on us, continues to hold our hostages with everything going on. 20 men that are still held, hopefully alive, another 35 men, women, older and younger, who have been held as bodies. That's still going on, and that is what's shown in both the Muslim and Arabic speaking world. So it's that combo of where we go, what they say to the media and what they feel, because the Islamic regime of Iran is most definitely viewed as a threat throughout certainly the Sunni world, and throughout. And I haven't heard anybody coming out and supporting Iran. That doesn't mean they won't attack Israel.
Hmm. Hmm. Interesting points. What I also need to know from you is how would you answer the experts who often suggest or fear that this conflict between Iran and Israel, by the way, should I call it a war?
Yes,
Because,
I call it a war. It's a war. This is a war.
okay, so Iran-Israel war would take the world towards the Third World War.
So I get this feeling and sense that we always have to think of if you don't act, okay? Because in acting, we're in a war and it could spread. But I want you all to think for a moment, if we didn't act, what would that do? That would mean that Iran would go nuclear? What does it mean that Iran goes nuclear? I mean, look at North Korea on the one hand and look at Russia on the other hand. Russia against Ukraine and North Korea that nobody's willing to touch. And Iran, this Islamic regime, exports its revolution, that's the terms that they're going to use, by building units that are supplied with this weapons, and these weapons are used against Israel. So it's like, Israel, you shouldn't do anything because you may lead to the war. And in the meantime, it's your problem if they fire missiles at you. It's okay, you have a defense system. Like, have you looked at where we are for the last 20 months? This Islamic regime is the inspiration for what Hamas did. If that type of attack, all of that different modus operandi, that combination of infiltrating into a territory, of attacking different places, of taking hostages, of using the hostages as a strategic asset, the whole information warfare, if that is perceived as a success, I don't want to think of what that's going to do to other places in the world. So I can't disconnect that right now from the greater picture. And I think that in our preempting against Iran right now, it isn't about, I had the opportunity, I'll take it. It is a stage where they were threshold nuclear, but before you had the material that would make it very, very dangerous. If you attack a place that already has the nuclear capability, you could inadvertently bring about a nuclear explosion. And in this case, we
Okay.
went in right before. Israel did something similar against Iraq, similar, very different, in 1981, because there was a nuclear reactor, and we destroyed the nuclear reactor 2 months before it was going to become operational, because you can't attack it once it's become operational, because that could be horrible for the world. So when you ask about World War III, you want to prevent World War III, but that doesn't mean acquiescing, agreeing to what the Islamic regime is doing. And the Islamic regime with a nuclear bomb, that's the World War III that all of us should be afraid of, because they're the ones that would both give a bomb to terrorists, to these different groups. They're the ones that would use a bomb. That extreme ideology is something that should scare all of us. And I understand that everybody's scared. We're scared too. This is not, I described at the beginning, the reality here is very challenging. But I really do think that what we're doing right now not only protects Israel, and that what it should be right now is everybody understanding, acting together to prevent that World War III is to isolate Iran. That's the way to do so.
Hmm. I've been reading a lot about Pakistan, and there are claims that are being made that Pakistan has been sharing intelligence about the sensitive locations of the Iranian generals and and their politicians. But obviously, not directly with Israel. Do you believe that a country
No,
which does not recognize
no.
Israel, where people spill venom, every day?
So first of all, I should say, Aditi, I'll be more exact in my words. One, I read lots of things, and everything's out there nowadays, and you and I are talking to each other, and different people understand different things. Pakistan is what, 200 million people? There absolutely can be Pakistanis who may be working for other, that they, just like right now in Iran, and I love showing it right now, you have Iranians in Tehran posting in social media, go Israel, keep attacking the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. And I imagine that in Pakistan, there are people who would like to also see Iran and that Islamic regime go their own way, because Pakistan and Iran share a border. It has not been a quiet border. They're not on the same page. And as I say, my enemy's enemy doesn't always make the third party my friend. And in this case, but I don't think that we're talking about any kind of absolute direct cooperation. And I could be wrong, but that's my assessment. I don't see Israel reaching out in that sense to the leadership of a country, and in this sense to security arena, that could be participating and helping other terror organizations that are against Israel. Again, the Sunni ones as opposed to the Shiite ones. So I'd be very wary of accepting that as an idea.
My last question, and thank you so much that you have answered every question in such great detail. How do you see this situation unfolding and what it means for the Israeli economy? Because military warfare is one side and Israel surviving is an economy, that matters as well.
What a wonderful question. The way I view the next few days, and it could be weeks, is that Israel is now attacking with our different, I would say, air platforms. It can be manned aircraft, unmanned aircraft, pretty much, and I don't want to be blusterous about this, anywhere we want in the Islamic regime of Iran. And take note, what we are attacking are military sites, our military industries. It's where they make the weapons. It's where they develop the weapons. It's where they hold the weapons. Where they have the actual held weapons, the ones that are already operational, are usually underground, very deep. Iran was waiting for a scenario and wanted to protect itself. And that's why this isn't going to be over tomorrow, the next day, because you don't want to leave them that capability. And that takes a lot of robust capability. So you have to make sure that they don't have any anti-aircraft capability, so that our air platforms can work freely. And they are, as we speak, they keep putting out, we're attacking here, we're attacking there. We're attacking the missile launch sites. The assessment in Israel is that what Iran has done to date of missiles that can reach Israel is up to around 2,000 missiles. So they fired at us over the last 48, 72 hours, a certain amount. But what Israel is doing is trying to attack the launchers and the sites where those missiles are being launched from. And every time they launch one, that for us is going to be also information. So as I look forward, as I say, it's not till next year, but it's not also over tomorrow morning. It's our capability to degrade the way we did to Hezbollah in Lebanon, the way we did to the Islamic regime of Iran in Syria before the change of regime, is to degrade the capabilities to fire at us, the capabilities to make the weapons, and we have targeted systematically the hierarchy. Again, Iranian Revolutionary Guard, it's like people say scientists. I'm like, these are the people who were running the illegal nuclear military programs. And these are the ones that when you take them out, you're pushing back that capability in Iran for years. You're going to find other people to do so. But right now, that immediately makes, for me, the world a safer place. And that's what we're doing right now. You also take out the hierarchy of decision makers, because whenever you do the attack against command and control in a regular country, okay, and at the end in this system, Iran is similar. It immediately makes decision making harder. We've taken out Khamenei's closest nuclear military Iranian Revolutionary Guards, his closest advisors. Who's he going to talk to, Aditi? He used to talk to Hassan Nasrallah, gone. He used to talk to, you take the different ones, and who does he do that with? And that makes the decisions even harder. So you're taking those out. And as I said, it's creating a platform where if the Iranian people can change it, kudos to them. But right now it's about the hardcore. And that's what I see in the next, certainly coming days. I may even say harshly for me, weeks. This all impacts Israel's economy very strongly. We are a country that's closed down. We're a country that at the end is built on working, on export, on high tech. Right now, emergency order, we're not allowed to be anywhere that isn't right next to a safe room. So yes, we're the high tech world and people can work from their houses. And we're used to that from Corona and from the last 20 months in any case. We've had enough days where we've been closed down, but it certainly has an impact on regular industries. That means, people who work in regular industries, not the high tech, they can't go to work right now. You can't go to a factory. You can't make, think about it, the furniture that you're going to sell to the young couple that's going to move into their new apartment. Nobody's allowed to work in buildings, so they're not building them. Nobody's allowed to go to stores. And that has an immediate impact on your economy because you have to have it moving. So I do hope that this is only for a week, maybe two. I think that we can sustain it a bit more than that, but not much more. And then you have to take into account that an economy has to be up and running.
Mm-hmm. I can't imagine that I didn't ask you that question because in India people discuss this at length. I remember Pakistan ran this propaganda against India where they talked about we downed Indian jets. Aren't you discussing the losses that Israel has suffered? And you would understand that I'm not questioning, or I'm not saying that you suffered losses. You know where this question is coming from, because when you go to war, there would be losses that you would have to suffer, because that's the rule of war. Either you don't go to war if you fear losses, don't go to war. If you go to war, then be prepared to take some losses, and you might be winning the war.
Aditi, I'm so happy that you asked that comment, especially for all of the viewers. So one, when we have losses, read it in every single Israeli press. We don't know how to hide things. We're a democracy. We tell people if a pilot has been hit, then we will tell you. When a plane has been downed, we will tell, because we're going to tell ourselves, because we don't hide behind it. The censorship inside Israel right now is only on the exact locations where the Iranian missiles hit, and that's to make sure that they can't adjust their own coordinates, because they'd love to try and say that what they've been attacking is, I don't know, a military base or some kind of a military structure.
Yes,
and they're not.
They are claiming they have downed your F-35, F-16s. They are claiming Iran
They've
is
done
claiming
nothing.
a lot of military installations being targeted.
And to me, even more to show how desperate they are, and I even use the word desperate, which I don't use lightly, is that they've created from AI erroneous things of downed Israeli planes, downed Israeli drones, and go and see, because the AI is showing MiGs and even Iranian drones, because they're the ones who make most of the drones. And so, as I say, if you want to know what is happening within, and again, the censorship in Israel is about the different locations inside Israel that have been hit to not assist the military capabilities of Iran. But when it comes to anybody being killed or anything of the sort here, that, that's going to be something that it's going to come out. We'll state it clearly. We're not hiding it. And as you said, I mean, I hate to be about statistics, okay? But in every war, there are casualties, and the casualties are on both sides. Israel is targeting the Islamic regime's Iranian Revolutionary Guard. It is the harshest of that dictatorship's capabilities, that what they're doing is firing at anything inside the state of Israel, anywhere in the state of Israel. They fired up north in the early hours of the morning. They killed a family in an Arab town up north called Tamra. 4 people of the family. It's what I said also to you before at the beginning, that they didn't have a safe room. It hit what's in an Arab village up north of Tamra? 4 women were killed there. They hit residential buildings in different cities, in towns and cities that are in the belt. It would be like the greater Delhi area. In Israel, it's the greater Tel Aviv area. There are lots of other names for the different cities here, and they've hit a house here, a building there, all of it civilian. All of the people killed until now are civilians, and that's where we are right now. Everything the Iranians are saying, as they always do, not just take with a grain of salt, they invent it, they make the AI, they disseminate it, and they want you to post it, because then it becomes as if a fact. It's lies. Be very careful with what you read.
I connect with you because we have faced it and we have faced it from time to time. Good for you that you such propaganda doesn't find support from inside. In India, many inside sitting in this country trust Pakistan more than what the Indian armed forces are telling them. So I can pretty well connect with that. And I'm happy that in your country, there are less doubters as opposed to my country, which is the largest democracy in the world. And people say so in the name of freedom of expression, their democratic right, freedom to express themselves. So all those kind of things, right or wrong, I leave that aside. Before I let you go, the future of warfare. In my eyes, Israel has always been upping the ante. We saw the Patriot attacks. I remember having a long discussion with you in Jaipur about it. From there to these precision strikes, these preemptive strikes hitting the nuclear facilities in Iran. What's the future of warfare? Is it drones? Is it missiles? What is it?
So I have to say, everybody breathe in deep. It's both the drones and the missiles. It's going to be smaller drones, ones that are harder to detect, ones that come in swarms, and it's very difficult to stop. These are already things we're seeing in Russia, Ukraine. But what that means, Aditi, is that I can go online, and you can go online, and I can order from the equivalent of Amazon, okay? 100 little drones that I would use, like you think of them now to take a film of the wedding, like above whatever, those little ones. They're starting to become very long range. You put on them different types of payloads. So that's one aspect that's going to be out there a lot more. I'm not discounting still ground forces, but the type of ground forces that we're talking about are the Hamas kind, the kind that from Hezbollah we stopped, the kind that I see in both Yemen, the Houthis, and the Shiites in Iraq. Pickup trucks, okay, with different lightweight capabilities that can travel quickly across a long stage. That could also come into this war. I think that certainly different pro-Islamic regime Shiites in Iraq, certainly Houthis from Yemen would like to do that. They'd like to also bring that into account. So we're talking about wars. It's not tanks, and it's not, that close combat. It's urban warfare that we have down in the Gaza Strip, the underground warfare that we have in the Gaza Strip, the drones, the missiles, and I'm waiting for the pickup trucks to arrive too.
May God forbid them. This is what I would say.
We'll be waiting.
Thank you so much, Colonel Miri. It's always a pleasure listening to you and your insights. There's so much to learn from you, and that's why I always enjoy our conversation. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care. Stay strong. Stay safe, please.
Aditi, thank you so much. And as a woman to a woman, I want to say to all of our audience, this makes a really big difference. Let's keep talking. Let's keep informing. So really, thank you so much. Shalom from Tel Aviv. And until next time.
Shalom.